Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to 87th Sky High Symposium. And I'm happy, very happy to see today our two speakers who are the awardees for this CA Women Excellence Award, CA Rinkle Gurwara and CA Neha Gada, and moderator CA Trupti Bhattar on the screen. And we have with us over here Secretary, our committee, CA Shanu Goel, and the Secretary of CLCGC committee, CA Sarika Singhal, and Secretary of IBC committee, Madam Rita. So I thought today we have the council meeting and these all are working over here and all our women excellence committee and today this is a symposium, so these are working, so I feel that they should also be there. I should introduce them also, and that is why I'm introducing, because these are actually the our members or our team who is working, and that is why we are excelling not only this committee but at ICI level also. And I welcome all my dear participants to today's session. And friends, I'm happy to share with all of you that with all our efforts since last year and this year, a lot of efforts have been gone to come out with this first ever CA Women Excellence Award. And during this 75th year of ICAI, and we had 6 categories and a total of about 15 awardees. And it has happened at National Stock Exchange, where all our president, vice president were there, and council members were also there, and the heads of chief guest, Shri Ashish Chauhan, who is MD and CEO of NSC. And it went very well. And this is the award which we thought, see, we have about 4 lakh chartered accountant members of ICAI, out of which 29 to 30% are female members, about 1,20,000, out of which, if we see, actually the working force is less than 50%. And at leadership position, if we see, it's hardly less than 3% at leadership position. And that's why the whole idea has started. And at committee, we had discussed a lot, and then we thought, let us recognize those who are at leadership position. So this recognition will also motivate other women members to do something, because a lot of women take sabbatic and they are not coming back into the actually main force of profession even they wish to. And this award will recognize the awardees and motivate all these women force, so that they can also do some or the other professional activity and excel in their life. And that has actually, with the support of President VP sir and entire council, we were able to organize at in one of the best way. And we have again thought, let us have one awardee at least each Wednesday, so that they can share their journey, which will really motivate. I also request office to actually take their bites, and we can have the videos, those bites compiled and share on the and circulate as well as put on the screen. This will really motivate everyone. So this is our agenda. We are coming to the conclusion of this year of our council term, and with the foundation which has been put in this year, I am sure this committee will work more and more. We are planning to complete the century, that is the 100 Sky High Symposium in this year. And I invite all of you to be the speaker or moderator for the sessions. With these words, I once again welcome all of you and ensure that our women fraternity is actually doing well and taking the leadership positions. Thank you very much, and I request now Trupti to take it further.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The tone has already been set for this particular Sky High Symposium by the Preeti ma'am. And with respect to Preeti ma'am, so she is the chairperson of WYMEC, and she is the chairperson of Sustainability Reporting Standard Board and vice chairperson of Valuation Standard Board for the year 23-24, and vice chairman of WYMEC is CA Abhay Chajarji, who is also Chairman of Commercial Laws, Economic Advisory, and NPO Cooperative, and Vice Chairman of Accounting Standard Board. This Wednesday program series has been thoughtfully designed to nurture the growth and development of our cherished women and young members. Sky High Symposium is not just about the technical updates, it is a platform to cultivate non technical skills and empower our members to shine confidently on the public stage. Today's session holds the promise of enlightenment as we explore the realm of scope in social service and SME listing at stock exchanges. Our first speaker, C.A. Rinkel Gorwara, will graces us with her insights. And with respect to her, she is a practicing at Winkle and Associates, having more than 2 decades of experience. She is a certified CSR from ICAI, diploma in dynamic counseling therapy, licensed and certified international life coach, a soft skill trainer, a specialized career counselor. She is a certified color therapist as well. She runs the foundation, Pareta Educare Foundation, which promotes education and provides resources to students in remote area. She is part of many groups where they collect plastics and e-waste every month and recycle them. She is also an active member for Society for Special Abled People. And with this brief introduction, I request everyone to please welcome her. And Winkle ma'am, I request you to take over the session.
So welcome Wrinkle and welcome Neha once again. And I also put on record the efforts of my WYMAC committee, Shanu and entire team for all this work. And I have worked also with Sarika last year and seen her strength also. And day night she is working for the betterment and interacting with MCA. And I have seen, in spite of her illness, a couple of years back, she has literally worked a lot. And I have seen the strength of Rita Madam also. And anything, she's just always a phone call away. Anything we tell, the things are done. So this is how the ICI is working. Thank you. With our woman excellence.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Thank you very much. And I thank Women Excellence and Women Young to start these. Sorry, thank you, Preeti ma'am. Thank you, Women Excellence Committee and the Women Young Wing Committee to come up with this award thing. It gives us a different pleasure to take an award from the Institute of Chartered Accountants. And I think more and more people will be encouraged with these kind of things and they would come forward if they are in some area where they're really doing specialized and working well. But with these awards, they will come forward and we would also know that they are real good entrepreneurs and more CA women we'll know who are into a high post. Thank you, Tripti, for a wonderful intro. Why it's why am I getting new? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, right now.
Yes, ma'am.
So my topic is something which is very different, and I'm not very sure how many people have actually heard about this topic, scope in social service. Now, when I talk about social service, there are two types of social services. Just a minute, huh? Why is it not? I'll have to read. So, I have received an award from Women Excellence Award regarding social service only. My journey started 10 or 12 years back when I started with a small thing that I started giving blankets and bed sheets in my own car I used to keep, and wherever I on the road I'm traveling, and I would give it away. And then when I realized that there are a couple of students who would come up that they need books and all, and that's where I started with education, and then with specially aided people who are more than 40 years of age by now. So, and I work with them because I feel at 40 there are no more parents left. So they have no one in the house. So 40 to 80 years, if they come here and work, they are independent, so they live a longer life and they have but they are very helpful and very creative and very hardworking. So I'm working with this sanstha called Swayam Siddha, who take care of especially specially aided people physically and mentally above the age of 40 years to 80 years. And as and when more and more I started doing social work, I started enjoying more and more and more. So I have been doing this from last 10 years and now I think I want to grow more. But as an aspect, I feel everybody should know social work also the scope for a chartered accountant in future. So I chose the topic instead of saying sharing my journey. I thought it is better that I say there is a scope. You know what we've always social work, giving away things, donating things is social work. Or I gave away to cry 80,000 rupees in ATG. I gave away Help India. But no, you can start your own social work. And as a chartered accountant, what are the fields that we can work ahead for is what my topic today was. There are two types of social works I look into it. One is human, which we are all doing from years, donating books, clothes, medicines, money, taking care of their health, rural developments. So they're all human because we can see, we can relate very easily to human to human. So hence we do a social work to human. Second one is to the environment. The most important, the place where we live should be the most beautiful place. Then only our health will be very good. So we should be taking care of environment, the land around us. That's also a part of social work, which is a must in future. Sorry, just a minute. So how this also helps a chartered accountant is what I want to talk about. So when it comes to humans, how exactly can a chartered accountant work on it? Now, as and when due to the company profits are growing, we have now many companies whose profits are more than 5 crores of rupees. So then CSR becomes mandatory to them. Now, when CSR becomes mandatory, then the CA comes into the picture. CA comes into the picture where can he has to file the returns, book, place the CSR amount in a right place, so that the benefit of CSR reporting of CSR comes into perfectly, and the company doesn't work. So a CA can either himself also open a Section 8 company, or if he knows any Section 8 company, he can expand that Section 8 company. Now, why a Section 8 company? Because a Section 8 company is the objective of a Section 8 company is to promote fields of art, commerce, science with no profit organization. So they are charitable companies which you incorporate, and that also incorporation is done by chartered accountants in the ROC in the income tax. Once you incorporate a Section 8 company, so more and more CSR will happen, more and more people are now moving on for social governance, and people realize that this is very important. So now those small type trusts have now come into Section 8 companies, which chartered accountants are able to make it and manage. Then comes, once you have incorporated a Section 8 company, then comes ATG certification and 12A, which gives the donor a 50% tax slab rate. So in that scenario, when you get a 50% tax slab, you get enough funds for your Section 8 company to run. You can go ahead with more and more. You can save people if you're going for health ratios. You can educate more people because, like, I have my own Section 8 company with the name of Parita Educate Foundation, where I promote education in tribal and Adivasi rural areas. We as people feel that everything is available on YouTube and computers, but when you generally go to these areas, they haven't even seen telescopes and bioscopes, and they don't know. They are just reading the books and understanding, and they're reading the books in the language, in the state language, not even in English. The state language with one teacher with teaching four subjects, even for the ninth and the 10th standard. So then I feel here a lot of us can contribute and give these students an education. You can encourage them from studying from the 10th, 9th, 8th standard, which a midday meal free is given in all states in India. You encourage them from 8th to 10th standard, from 10th to 12th. I believe padega India to badega India. And I'm sure this is what everyone out here believes, that if a child is given a proper education, he creates a different environment and aura around himself. And that's how the progress of the country happens. Even even in your, if you have a good funding, you can encourage sports where we are lacking nowadays in Olympics, and now we are going. If you notice, most of these Olympians are from rural areas, Adivasi or tribal areas. So they are really good at it, but they just need some support, which a Section 8 company can provide them, and you can get a benefit of it with a 50G. You get a donor with 50G, 80G benefits, and you can provide someone social work. So all these, and the third is yes, CSR certification. Any fund that a Section 8 company gets, first of all, after Section 8 and 12 ATG, company has to apply for CSR registration in the ROC. There also the role is played by a CA only, because CA, so the scope is so big that you are forming a company under Section 8, then obviously you're going to be applying for ATG and 12AA, then you are going for CSR application, and all these require every time. There are different compliances that have to be done for all these things. The companies under the Companies Act, under the Income Tax Act, and you have to form. All these are scopes for CAs, because these are going to be more and more coming up rather than reducing. And obviously, charitable commissioners auditing and reporting is also done by CAs. Then comes CSR. So once a company gives a fund to you, supposing the company has given you 1 crore of fund to this company. Again, the company has to issue a certificate back to the Section 8 company has to issue a certificate back to the company that what 1 crore you had given us, we have utilized for this. Then only that person in his books of accounts can report that the CSR funding has been done based on the mandatory requirements. So everywhere chartered accountants play a role in all this, the CSR certification, and also why. Now, for CSR, the institute has come up with a CSR certificate course, which is a very good course. You can learn online, and then you're a certified CSR, then you will understand all the requirements, what a company is required to do for whether it's a Section 8 company or whether it's a limited company which has a turnover more than 5 CR, and how they have to channelize their profit in CSR, how much has to be done mandatory, what can be taken next year, where they will be eligible for CSR, where not. All those things you will come to know. And this is going to be future, because 5 crore profit is not a bigger amount, and more CSRs will happen. And that's how. And CSR, I would like to say what it is. It is a corporate social responsibility. It is under the Schedule 7 of the Companies Act, that there are lists given that these are the CSRs, these are the activities that you do are covered under the corporate social responsibility. We have to do those activities to understand what exactly is corporate social responsibility. So some of them are, I would like to state it: eradicating poverty and hunger, improvement in education and tribal religion, and with differently disabled people also, improving gender equality, setting up homes and hostels for different socially backward economic groups, and safeguarding environment sustainability, economic ecological balance. So here also they have talked about environment sustainability and conservation of natural sources, forests, quality of soil. Then the fifth is protection of natural heritage, art and culture, buildings and art galleries. Sixth is measures for the benefit of armed forces, so war widows and their dependents. Seventh is training to stimulate rural sports. That's what I was talking. That there are a lot of people in the rural area and the tribal area who are very good into sports. They have a lot of potentials. But if you're a Section 8 company, you would approach to them and encourage them and sponsor them to a level which they are. Then Paralympic sports also you can encourage. Then the eighth is contribution to Prime Minister Fund. Then ninth is contribution into research and developments in the field of science. Tenth is contribution to universities like IITs and Ayush Mindra. 11th is rural development projects. This also has a section in company you can pick up. 12th is slum area developments. And 13th is disaster management, including relief. So these are the some of the points which I've covered in very small time, because I have very limited time. that these are the areas where you can work on if you're in a, and you can encourage people more in this. So now till this, I have explained that the different kind of scope that you have. I, as a chartered accountant, my journey started with giving away blankets to people, and then educating students, giving them career counseling, and then I started. I realized that there is a lot of people who want more, and there are companies who want to give CSR, but to a not they want to actually give it for CSR and not just for the name. So then I opened up a Section 8 company, and I then registered myself for 80G and 12A, and also then CSR simultaneously. So today, if my client only wants to donate in CSR, he doesn't have to move around in 10 places and look out for where he can come and donate in my own company, Section 8 company, where we then we have adopted 27 schools in rural areas where we provide them with different education system stationaries and sports equipment. We have also introduced music into them, so this encourages them to grow. And we encourage them that you should be uh, motivated to music also, because in Maharashtra or Gujarat, Rajasthan, we have till 8th standard textbooks free and midday meal free. In most of the states in India, that is the thing. So then the students only study up to 8th, because 9th, 10th, again, the textbooks are, you have to pay for the textbooks. They don't have money to pay for the textbooks. So their parents say, now you leave the school, start working with us, or they get them married. So we as chartered accountants qualified can take the effort to encourage them that at least study till 8th to 10th and 10th to 12th. And there are a lot of scholarship and sponsorship programs by the government, which also we can encourage them and promote them. Just now comes social work to environment, which is a very rare topic. Okay, when I talk about environment, a lot of people talk, okay, we grow a lot of plants, and we are taking care of forests, we do not harm animals. Does that only mean environment? The topic that I would be covering today would be recycle. And recycle of what type of things I will be doing. So environment is, and as G20, Mr. Narendra Modi has also put a sustainability. Sustainability means reusing the stuff, or making a life of any item a longer one is sustainability. So I used a plastic glass and threw it in the dustbin. When I threw it in the dustbin, it doesn't go to for recycling. It goes straight to, either it gets burnt, which again creates a lot of emissions outside, gases, hazardous gases, or it goes to the sea where marine life gets really impacted, and otherwise it goes into the soil where your plants are grown. That also impacts, because the plastic or any kind of I would say e-waste. E-waste is electronic waste that also emissions gases, hazardous, emissions a lot of unwanted health issues it comes out with. So hence these also need recycling. These are very important in today's world, because nor can we stop plastic, nor can we stop using electronic items. Let's not use start using word, "Arey, we will stop using electronic items." More and more artificial intelligence is coming. More and more we are getting towards a technology rather. And I would say, why not? When the world is moving, technology is giving us a lot of things better. We should be using those things. Then how do we safeguard ourselves with these kind of things is one of my topics going to be today. Sustainability, it is the ability to exist and develop without depleting natural resources for the future. The United Nations defined sustainability development in the Brundtland Report as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, is what sustainability is. That's what I said. We cannot say that we will stop using it, but how do we work on it? And as a chartered accountant, why do we need to do? I'm sure everybody is nowadays talking about ESG, because ESG audits are also going to come in future, and institute is coming up with certificate courses on ESG sustainability. And so what is ESG? Environmental, social, and corporate governance. So it's a set of considerations including environmental issues, social issues, and corporate governance that can be considered in investing a company. So today, when I earlier companies had to make profits, that was the main goal. Today, the companies have to take care of their production doesn't harm the environment. It take care of their employees. The employees are happy. The governance and the social, that they are doing something for the people in and outside both. The people are happy. So ESG and ESG audits are going to be a future, which are going to be conducted by the CAs. The certificate course has already started, and now the packages have also started coming for ESG auditing and ESG reporting. EPR. This is a word which is extender producer responsibility. So while doing ESG audits and BSR, this is going to be a very particular important part, the extender producer responsibility. It is a waste and pollution management concept that encourages companies to design more sustainable and recycled products and manufacturing processes. So I have given out, it goes to recycle, from recycle something new comes up, again we are using it. That is what EPR. So every company, supposingly it's a, for example, I give you a medicine manufacturer. A medicine manufacturer has a plastic waste also, because uh, the the packaging has a plastic and an aluminum foil. So when they're packaging, so side gets cut, and the foil, and there are a lot of wastages. Earlier, they would be thrown away. Now, the companies are very careful. They don't throw it away because EPR. So, what they do, the plastic is again given to a company which recycles it. The aluminium is also given to people who recycle, and they again make aluminium bars, and from aluminium bars, again, aluminium sheets are made. So this is the concept where we talk extend the producer responsibility. Every manufacturer. So when you're working in any of these companies, you can talk about it. Even the ISO, when they will be doing more and more ISO, more the EPR will be taken more impactfully in future. So if today you start reading more about it and you do certificate courses, you will be at a better position in future. BSR, we've all been knowing this word, and Madam PT ma'am has made this sustainability into a very now from the institute a very strong relevance, and they are coming up with social audits, ESG audits because of this only. So BSR role is to catalyze change within business by integrating sustainability into strategy and operations, and to promote collaborations among companies and their stakeholders for systematic progress towards a just and sustainable world. So when India has introduced a new environment, social and governance reporting requirements, the top 1,000 have already come into the picture for the financial year 22-23. So SEBI would be increasing this as and where in future. The SEBI stipulates that the disclosure must be made through a new format named the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, BRSR. The reporting for this has come as BRSR, that is Business Responsibility and Sustainable Report. So voluntarily 21-23 it was, now it is mandatory in 2023. Even our institute recognizes the companies who are giving one of the best BRSR reports, and they are awarding them and calling them and awarding them at an award function. So sustainability is becoming a fast key, and that is the most important priority of corporates around the world, both linked to the branding of the company, because today brand is very important. You have seen in most of the companies when they put those, a product, in the product they would be writing, we recycle this, your 1 rupee saved to a given to a child, your 1 rupee can save a given to a whisper has put that your 1 rupee will give a pat to someone. Every pad of yours give us a rupee to some child for it, or the bottles. So nowadays, all these companies are looking into this governance, social responsibility. Just a minute. So they are all looking into this. Why? Because BSR is right now the most important thing. The branding, the morality, the ethics are all. So it is shifting now. The the shift of the mindset of the investor is also that one who's more into wealth rather than wealth creation. The primary goal is become sustainability creation, sustainability growth. Earlier it was only wealth. Now it is sustainability growth. So we should be concentrating more on reading these kind of things and more on certificate courses for future. They are going to be there. Come before that, I would also like to say that if we are what is an so there are certificate courses which are available right with the institute and others also for EPR audit and compliances. So they help the business to comply. You as a chartered accountant can help the business to comply with the extended producer responsibility regulations in India by quick and smooth transfers of all carbon credits, other credits also. You can also help businesses to develop and implement environment, social, and governance strategies. You can also be with businesses to create social impact through sustainability initiatives. Now, in all this thing, you can, in the most important thing in your day to day life, also as a small chartered accountant, also, or as a big companies where you're working, recycling is one word that we should now look into it. There is something called, the we have plastic recycling, we have electronic waste recycling, Tetra Pak recycling, everything. Instead of throwing it in the garbage, we should be recycling those products to help our nature and environment to remain as beautiful as possible and for a better future of us. Now, I would like to talk about plastic recycling. I have been doing plastic recycling for last 8 to 9 years, and initially I used to wonder, I don't use so much of plastic. What? But with a group of five shares, we share every 15 days we'll end up giving 10 kgs minimum plastic for recycling. Imagine 10 kgs. The milk bag that you get, the wrappers, the shaving kit, the toothbrushes. So all these are plastics. Now you in a corporate world can at the manufacturing side, yes, you know what is the plastic that you can give it for recycling. Otherwise, with the employees, you can create awareness of plastic and have drives and have like okay, every 15 days a plastic recycle or every 1 week plastic will be given for recycling. So please come from your house and put our plastic. The number of plastic because you will get carbon credit in future from the plastic company and you will get certificates which will give you additional marks for awards for investors to invest in yours because they will realize you're so much concerned about it. The EPR audits of your or the ESG audits will turn up a better, your BSSR will be a good at a good reporting. So, as a chartered accountant, you can encourage your companies to go for recycling. Now, plastic recycling has been described as a process of recovering scrap or waste plastic and reprocessing the material into useful products sometimes completely different in the form of their original state. I'm sure nowadays we hear a lot of companies, startups, sustainable startups, then they come up with toothbrushes out of woods and dresses out of plastic, and then you have so all this is where they are do people are investing on them. Earlier, who will invest someone who's making plastic t-shirts or bamboo toothbrushes? But now, if you see startups are getting investments because people have realized that the environment is more important and hence people are moving. We can't say, oh, we'll stop using plastic. No, but we should learn to recycle, give the plastic for recycling. There are a lot of companies who do recycling of plastic. They come and collect it here. You just have to search for them. They come and collect it either at your company, at your office, and they give you certificates back. They grow trees also out of what the plastics that you've given, the amount of plastic that you've given, they give you a certificate. Some of them say that, okay, you've given this much tons of plastic, we will grow trees in respect of that. So you're even doing greenery along with saving the earth with plastic and the marine life and the animal life with the waste and jargon of plastic. So, so every small item, I would like to say, plastic is there everywhere. Whether you're using a pen that also has a plastic, you're eating some wrapper that is also plastic. So we should encourage in our companies or in our households everywhere to recycle plastic rather than throw them in the dustbin. Because when you throw in the dustbin, even the manure is not created because manure or composition happens only with liquid eatable foods and not with plastic along with it. Then it spoils the entire thing. My next is e-waste. I don't know how many of you really work on e-waste. E-waste is electronic waste. Electronic waste management refers to properly disposing and managing electronic waste, including old and discarded electronic gadgets such as phones, computers, televisions. The process involves the collection, transportation, recycling, refurbishing, and disposable electronic waste in an environment friendly manner. I started this electronic waste from last 5 years. Until now, I have given around 400 kilos of electronic waste. Imagine 400 kilos. We all have this habit of keeping, even in offices, uh, once the monitor is gone, the keyboards, or the wires, everything is placed in one place in our office. It occupies a space either in office, either in a manufacturing company, or either in the house. We keep space for this electronic waste. Why? Why do we need something which is not going to work? Why do we need to keep negative auras in our own environment? Anything which is working is only a positive. You know the technology is gone absurd. It is not going to be usable. Then why are we storing it? Just that I cannot throw it in the dustbin and I'll come. I have noticed that many companies say, okay, we'll do scrap sale, we'll ask for tenders, we will do that. Really, uh, for the tender and everything, you take years and you pile up space, which is like in cities, metro cities, it is 30,000 square feet place you're occupying for something which is not usable. That is still okay. Plus, if you're looking into spirituality and all, it creates a negative aura. Fair enough. Do you know even a small battery cell or any kind of your laptops, closed laptop, if the water falls on them by mistake, by any reason, they start emitting hazardous gases for us. So nowadays, you may have noticed that a lot of people have coughing diseases, a lot of cough, because all these gases are then inhaled by us. We don't realize that these are. You feel that okay, अरे ये मुझे दिखता कहाँ है? But छोटी छोटी चीज you cannot see them. They move in the environment. And when I say plastic recycle or e-waste management, I do not ask you to give to a Raddi wala because when you give a Raddi wala or some local brand, the child labor happens because then they break it. They are not ISO certified people who would be taking care of their laborers who are dismantling our products. They wouldn't be. So if you get a Raddiwala, he gives it, and in Bombay it is at Dharavi, in Delhi it is at what's that place called? Saruni. Sarina Market. So they go to this, typical slum areas where the childrens are breaking those electronic items or the plastic items, and then they're selling it for the number amount and they're giving it. But when you do that breaking, also it starts giving out gases and all in the environment, and for the child it is very harmful, and then you're encouraging child labor. Rather, you should be giving it to proper companies which are managing this recycling of plastics, e-waste. They have ISO certified, they are EPR certified. They would also give you certificate back based on the carbon credit that your thing is doing. And in case of electronic waste, it is just not a laptop that is an electronic, even a pencil cell, a battery cell, wires, then children's toys, all these are electronic waste. the cell phone that is not working anymore, the digital cameras which are not working, the roll cameras, they are all electronic waste which needs to be discarded, given for recycle. Please find a good recycling company around you. They will come and collect it to you from you, and they will give you a certificate back based on it, and your company will get points based on that. Nowadays, a lot of colleges, schools have started this. We introduce them and we explain them because they get uh, 0.1 marks on these kind of recycling habits that they do, e-waste and plastic. So their topping, the rankings of their goes higher when they do these kind of activities in their own environment. So if you're from some management school or college, even normal schools and colleges, if you're teaching there, teaching faculty or an auditing faculty, you can encourage them for e-waste management and plastic recycling. Even Tetra Packs are recycled. The best Tetra Pack recycling is Reliance company. They every Reliance outlet has a small Tetra Pack recycling box. Out of that, they make furnitures for the poor and tribal government schools, so we can encourage as in more ways. So here's a process for you for the e-waste. Your e-waste, they come and collect it to you. They go to a factory which is EPR ISO certified, and the mask and everything is taken care. Out of that, the battery, carbon, they're all recycled. Even the tube lights, TVs, everything. The shredding happens. The plastic goes into plastic. The glass goes from a glass is broken into smallest piece, and the chemicals are uh, the lead and all are used and again made bars, and this is and you are being injured. Thank you very much. In case if you have any queries, please let me know, because I think my time is near. Pooja ji, my time is I think up to 4:45.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
So I would like to invite the questions. I think everyone has very well understood the topic.
It's a very different topic. People are still taking the topic. It's a very future generated topic because more and more sustainability report, EPR, ESG will come into picture. People will really start looking forward for it.
Correct, true. So, on behalf of Women and Young Member Committee, I would like to extend a formal vote of thanks to C.A. Wrinkle ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much to spare your valuable time and empower us on the subject topic of the day. In this era of pollution and toxicity, you have rightly mentioned on recycling and reuse of product and how we can save or conserve the environment to the best possible way. More of anything above, as a human being, it is our core responsibility to protect our environment. We really don't realize how much we are harming the environment knowingly and unknowingly. Thank you so much, ma'am, to enlighten us on the very needed topic of the country. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am. Now, moving forward to our next topic of the day, I would invite our second speaker, Neha ma'am. Neha ma'am, please take the charge of the session.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Pooja. I'll just share my PPT. And Wrinkle, you've done a great job. In fact, it was quite enlightening for me also to understand what all things we can consider ourselves, being a chartered accountant, what all things we can do under social service area. And yeah, we go ahead with the
Thank you, Neha.
Yeah.
Just a minute, Pooja ma'am, Neha's band has not been, we've not had,
Sorry?
we've not
so
discussed about Neha ma'am.
introduction, I think so.
Introduction of Neha ma'am.
Just a minute.
If you have handy with you, it's fine. Otherwise, I'll continue and then maybe you can give it.
I don't have right now.
No issue. I'll continue and maybe then you can give the decision.
Yeah, sure.
Is my screen visible, Pooja?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. So good evening, everybody. And today we will be doing a little bit of meet again topic wherein we are considering listing of small companies, small and medium-sized companies on stock exchange. So as we are seeing these days, there is a lot of fever of capital market wherein a lot of IPOs are coming in and a lot of fundraising is happening. The capital markets are at its boom and everything is at, Sensex is always at high. So considering that, I myself am practicing into securities law. And this topic purely is on listing of a small and a medium-sized enterprises. So as you all are from spread all over India, and I am sure that in each place there are small companies which are very good at its project. They are doing very well into its manufacturing or service sector, and still they always struggle for raising certain funds. And everywhere for each and every place, probably a VC or a private equity won't be visible. So at that time, maybe we can introduce to our clients about SME listing, wherein funds are raised from normal public, and the fund size is also, I mean, since many public participate into it, the size of the fundraising will be very small, and probably our client may get a very good valuation for the enterprise that they are handling, whereas their fund requirement is also satisfied. So we move ahead. My PPT is into different parts wherein I'll be covering why SME was introduced, then the keywords for SME, what are the benefits of getting this company listed on SME, and what are the criteria that you have to look into whether your client is fit to get itself listed on SME, what are the process, and after once the company is getting listed, what are the compliances that company has to do. So let us start with it. SME was introduced with a very far vision of our Prime Minister, wherein he thought that there is a need of an hour where small and medium scale companies also should get themselves listed. And so, under Prime Minister's instruction on recommendation, SEBI had formed a task group wherein it was decided that a platform be created and certain criteria be put up wherein SMEs, wherein the companies will be eligible to get themselves listed on either stock exchange, BSE or NSE. So a clause, a particular regulation was introduced in the by SEBI, and BSE and NSE, both these are nationwide stock exchanges who decided their own internal criteria wherein they will allow the companies to get themselves listed. So by doing this, we are moving towards more liberalized economy, and definitely as on date, we have n number of QIBs, FIIs who are interested in the small and medium enterprises also for investing. As on date, BSE has got roughly 293 companies listed on their stock exchange, and NSE has got 251 companies which are listed on their stock exchange. A company who is willing to get themselves listed can list on either of the exchanges. You cannot list on both the exchanges, either BSE or NSE. So BSE platform is called as BSE SME platform, and NSE is called as NSE Emerge platform. Wherein you can also see the market cap for BSE is roughly 34,000 crores, And for NSE, it is 75,000 crores, which is definitely a huge number. We move ahead to various keywords that I would be using during the process. SME is called as small and medium enterprise. SME exchange is the exchange, that is the platform that has been provided by both the stock exchanges and main board. So there are two boards now, SME and main board. So once the company, once it gets listed on SME and is doing good, then it gets promoted to main board, wherein you have more possibility. There is more liquidity in the stock, and fundraising becomes still more easier when the company is on main board. There is another term which I will be using, that's the nominated investor. A nominated investor is a QIP or a private equity who would be interested in fundraising of this small and medium scale enterprises. And there is a compulsory provision of market maker. So market maker is a person who would be providing a two-way quotes, that is a buying and a selling quote in order to provide liquidity in that particular stock. Since the market lot of SME script is 1 lakh rupees, which is little higher, so accordingly, the market maker is required so that there is some liquidity in the script. Then we come to the benefits of listing. I think so. Maybe you people also can put certain things on chat. If you can think of how a listing will help your client or an enterprise to, make themselves shine and raise certain funds. So as you see at corporate level, they will have a lot of visibility. There could be brand building. The brand of that particular company automatically gets a lot of coverage and weightage. The valuations of the company are determined at specific formula, and definitely there is a lot of unlocking of valuations. The funding terms are comparatively reasonable as compared to if you raise funds from a VCF or a private equity. The fundraising terms are simpler and easier in case of listed entity. Then there is also a very wonderful option of giving ESOPs to your employees so that you can retain those employees. And this employees, once retained, automatically it will improve the productivity of your company. And the best, what we as a chartered accountant always look into is the taxability. Any gain on sale of this shares or equity is taxed at 10%. Long-term capital gain is taxed only at 10%. So definitely you see that there is a lot of benefit once a company is listed. And considering the process of listing for an SME company, the process is very fast. The time frame that we look is 3 to 4 months for a company to get themselves listed. The cost involved is also reasonably very low. And there is an underwriting which the merchant banker provides, that the issue is fully subscribed. And therefore, it gives a lot of security to the promoter that the issue will definitely get subscribed. Then in this case, the offer document doesn't go to SEBI. It is cleared by stock exchanges only. So this is another big hurdle, because when SEBI is involved, definitely the time that is involved in getting approvals gets enhanced by another 3 to 4 months. Then the reporting requirements, the quarterly reporting, the half-yearly reporting requirements in case of SME is quite less, and this helps the company, to bridge the gap, since it's being unlisted and now getting listed. So it definitely has got little bit of changes, and it helps them to bridge that gap of reporting. Your reporting is quite less, and again the migration to main board is simpler. With a cooling period of 3 years, the company is eligible to get itself migrated on main board. So, as you see, this company who comes under SME definitely has got a future and gets itself listed on the main day. And the time frame, the cost, the compliance headache, all is quite reduced to a greater extent, and it helps the company to, to take it ahead easier and, in fact, grow its business also while it's growing on listing. We come to the eligibility requirements. Now, it is very clear that an SME company, it has the form of the SME company has to be a public listed company. It has to be a public company which gets converted itself into a listed company, and it has to follow Companies Act 1956 and 2013 wherever it has formed. Then it has to also comply with Securities Contract Regulation Act and SEBI 1992 Act, and any rules or regulations that are framed under this statutes, any of the statutes, any circular, any clarifications or guidelines, everything that falls under SCRA or SEBI Act needs to be followed by this listed company. So this covers the broad aspect of compliances that SME company has to follow. Now we come to the parameters based on which it is decided whether the company is eligible for listing. So here I have broadly classified the parameters because NSE Emerge has got its different criteria. BSE SME has got a different criteria. And accordingly, a company can decide where it wants to get itself listed, whether on NSE or at BSE. So at NSE, the criteria for operating profits is out of last 3 years, at least 2 years, the company should have, operating profits and should not be a loss making in its operations. Whereas in case of BSE SME, it should have out of 3 years, at least 2 years should be profit making, or in case the project that the SME company is planning or is proposing to, actually implement, that project has to be, if it is appraised by NABARD or SIDBI or any financial institutions or banks, then a positive operating profit for 1 year is also good enough. So there is certain relaxation if the project has been appraised by any of the financial institutions. And instead of 2 years, 1 year profit for the earlier preceding year is mandatory, operating profit. Then net worth in NSE Emerge, it states that it should be positive, whereas in BSE Emerge, it should be at least 1 crore in the preceding 2 financial years. In case of net tangible assets, there is no specific criteria as mentioned by NSE Emerge, but BSE SME states that at least 3 crores should be the tangible asset value in the preceding financial year. So operating profit, as we can broadly conclude that, the company should have a positive net worth and 1 crore plus is good enough. Net tangible assets should be around 3 crores and there should be operating profit in 2 out of 3 years. The next criteria is based on track record. So the track record of NSE Emerge, I'm sorry, it's not getting reflected over here, but it states that the promoter or the company which is planning to come out with an SME on NSE should have at least 3 years track record. Basically, it should be in business. What business it's proposing to get itself listed, it should be in that business for at least 3 years. So that is the criteria. Whereas in case of BSE, it states that 3 years it should be there, but the company has to be operational in last 1 year. So there are certain companies, greenfield companies and all, whose operations start at a later date. So for those companies, the company has to be operational in last 1 year and the promoter should have a track record of 3 years. Again, these companies, if the project that they are proposing is appraised by NABARD or SIDBI or any financial institutions, then it's okay if they don't have a 3 years track record, but definitely 1 year track record of operations should be there. And in this 1 year, it is always considered as the financial year and not the year to year figure, basically. I mean, from December, say from March to, it has to be from April to March and not from, say, February to Jan. That cannot be considered as a year. It has to be a financial year. For leverage ratio, there is no criteria that has been specified by NSE. But BSc SME proposes that at least the company should have 3:1 as the leverage ratio, and they do consider a certain relaxation in certain companies. So, yeah, and the operating profit here, wherever it has been mentioned, operating profit, it means earnings before interest, depreciation, and tax. So, friends, you can definitely from this basic parameters, you can make out that really a very small company who is just making certain operating profits and has got great plans for its various projects can raise funds from the market. And if their objects are very clear that where they are going to infuse this money and how they are going to infuse the money, and if their intentions are clear, then definitely fundraising becomes very easy for such companies. There are other parameters besides this financial parameters, which state that the company has to be incorporated under Companies Act, which is very basic and simple. The post-issue capital of the company should not exceed 25 crores. So, if a company, we have to ensure that the capital post-listing will not be, the paid-up capital of the company will not exceed 25 crores. Then here, the company should not be referred under BIFR or under IBC, or should not be admitted under IBC. Neither its promoting companies or promoters also should be referred in the erstwhile BIFR or in the current IBC thing. Then the company should not have received any binding of petition from NCLT or court. The company which we are proposing to get itself listed on stock exchange, then there is no material, disciplinary action or regulatory action taken against the company, against the promoters of the company. So this could, in last 3 years, so this could be from stock exchange or SEBI or in some or other form, wherein maybe the promoters or if the company has been penalized or any disciplinary action has been taken, then that company is not eligible to get listed in the SME. Then the application of an SME company, there is a cooling period. If it gets rejected, it can reapply only after 6 months. So that needs to be followed. Further, we have to ensure that there is no default that has been made by the company to the financial institutions or to the bank in repayment of loans or interest and debentures or fixed deposits. That has to be ensured. Only that company would be eligible. And stock exchange and regulators have got their own way of finding out whether the company has ever defaulted or anything of that sort. Then it automatically is highlighted. Then 100, it is necessary, it is very much mandatory that the shares should be in demat form and the promoter holding should, all 100% promoter holding should be in dematerialized form. So nothing is allowed in physical. Now everything is mandatorily in demat form. Then even the company has to ensure that it has signed with both the depositories, that is NSDL and CDSL. And it allows, it will facilitate demat trading for all the securities that are being issued by the company. And there is one more condition that is at BSE, that there should not be change in the promoters of the company in last 1 year. So here they want to ensure that the promoter is with the company for a long time and is interested and is invested in the company and would like the company to take it ahead. Besides these parameters, there are certain disclosures that a company who is willing to get itself listed, that needs to be provided in the document, in the offer document. Those are like if there are any criminal proceedings or any income tax liability or any risk factors that the company would be having in its business. Everything needs to be highlighted, and there should be an industry report to that particular business, which also needs to be enclosed in this offer document so that it educates the investor as to what type of company it is investing into and what it is looking forward. I mean, what returns it can expect from the company. And it is expected that all of us, before investing, will definitely read that offer document and then only invest. So it mentions all the risk factors, all the disciplinary actions under income tax, criminal proceedings, civil proceedings of the promoters, directors, the composition of the directors, the board of directors of the company will be mentioned. The object object of the issue where the company is planning to, invest its money from the fundraising will be clearly mentioned with all the, minutest detail. And all this thing, due diligence is conducted by merchant banker before placing it on the document, so that reliance can be taken that the merchant banker has taken enough care and is ensured that whatever things have been mentioned in the document are factual and there is no discrepancy in the same. Then to understand broadly what is the process of listing. So here the process, I will just run through it. We need at least 50 investors for an SME issue to be successful. We have to ensure that at least 25% of the total paid up capital is with the public and the promoter holding is not exceeding 75%. This is mandatory and this needs to be ensured. Then the trading, as I mentioned earlier, has to be in dematerialized form. The lot size of an SME script is 1 lakh, and accordingly, the amount, trading amount is 1 lakh, and accordingly, the lot size of shares is decided by the exchanges that based on the price of an SME company that is ascertained, the lot size is decided. And there is 100% underwriting that has been taken by the merchant bankers, and they will ensure that the fund is the issue is fully subscribed. And here it is also observed that a merchant banker has to at least underwrite 15% of the issue in his own account at the time of coming up with an IPO. So this is how these are the basic mandatory things that needs to be considered. Here we come with the process. Now, if you have any private limited company and you think it's fit and eligible to raise funds from public, this will just broadly give how the flow of action would be. First, we convert this private limited company. If it's a private limited company or a proprietorship or a LLP, we convert it into a public limited company. Then we update all its compliances with respect to ROC, income tax, and other regulators which it falls under, like labor law or anything of that sort, or environmental law, whatever falls under this particular style of business of the company. Then we structure the capital. So we structure the capital and accordingly because generally those are very small capital base wherein there are certain reserves and reserves. So capital could be 1 lakh, 10 lakh, and here we are looking for a very big issue size. So at least considering the valuation and all, we have to structure the capital by issuing bonus or giving further shares wherein the promoters will be able to, have better control on the company. Accordingly, we have to, whatever are the requirements, accordingly we structure the capital. Then we have to sign and identify. First of all, we have to identify a merchant banker who will ensure that we get good valuation for the business that we are conducting in that company. So we meet certain merchant bankers and decide that based on their meetings, we decide which one is best and who's giving us the best valuation for our company. So there are certain merchant bankers. Then we have to appoint registrar and transfer agents who will take care of all your transfers and dematerialization and all share related matters, and who also helps in allotment of shares at the time of IPO. Uh, and any such grievances of investors are generally held undertaken by RTA. Then we have to sign with both the depositories, that is NSDL and CDSL. We, if there are certain chances that the merchant banker and the underwriter are different in many cases, in few cases, so we have to appoint an underwriter, and then merchant banker and underwriter, they work in tandem. We have to appoint a market maker who will provide the buy-sell quotes in order to gain the liquidity. So this is appointment of various intermediaries who help in taking up the IPO procedure. Then once merchant banker is appointed, we will undertake the due diligence of our company and prepare offer document. And there is a lot of flow of documents here and there. And based on that, huge document, letter of offer document is formulated, and then it is shared with the promoters and the stakeholders. And based on that, inputs given by each one of them, the document is finalized and it is put before stock exchange for approval. So here, if you see there, here we have experts like chartered accountants, company secretaries, lawyers, and technical people who understand business would be involved in finalization of the offer document, and who will be involved in finalization of offer document. Once the offer document is finalized, we also conduct road shows so that we attract QIBs or HNIs or FIs to invest in our company, wherein we'll definitely give them a presentation which will tell the benefits of investing in this company, the product of the company, the about the promoters, and what we are looking for in what is our future projections and all. Everything would be discussed, and based on that, we can attract investors to invest in our company. The offer document is filed, and there are certain queries which come from the stock exchanges, which we try and resolve. The merchant banker will try and resolve, and then there is an interview and a site visit of the company, which will be listed. Once all these things are through, the queries are resolved, the interview is done, and the site visit is done. The stock exchange issues approval letter, and based on that approval letter, the merchant banker and the promoters, they come together and decide when to open the issue. The opening and the closing date of the issues are decided. Meanwhile, here we have to go to ROC also and seek their approval for the offer document. Once that comes, the issue opens, and it is the issue can be of two form. It can be of a fixed price or a book building method, and based on that, one of the methods the promoters and the merchant banker decide, and the issue is filled in. Once it is filled, the issue gets closed. Shares get allotted. The people who don't get shares, for them refunds are issued, and the company has to, the stock exchange, the company has to file an application with the stock exchange. The listing application generally gets approved in maybe 2 days' time, and once they are approved, the shares get credited in the demat account of the allottees. And once they get allotted, the next day trading notice is issued, and the process, I mean, basically your company is listed. So broadly, this takes roughly three and a half months of hard work, wherein we all, means all the professionals are involved, the merchant banker is involved, the promoters are involved, and the company gets listed in totality. Here, we have to also keep in mind that the promoter holding, 20% of promoter holding shall be under lock-in for 3 years, and the balance promoter holding shall be lock-in for 1 year. So this ensures that the promoter is with the company, and is not just by raising funds will be out of the company and siphon off the money, and he's there to take care of the company. So this lock-in provisions are mandatory. So here again the same lock-in provisions are explained that 20% of the promoter holding, post-issue holding will be under lock-in for 3 years and 1 year for balance holding. And any pre-issue capital that is invested by friends and employees and all, those all also shall be under lock-in for 1 year. So everybody whoever are involved or whoever are connected with the company before the IPO, all people share will be locked in at least for 1 year. Further, as we move, we come to the compliances that this listed company, once it gets listed, yeah, it is not so easy to survive and maintain themselves, and that culture needs to be built. I mean, the culture needs to be imbibed by the professionals, chartered accountant and company secretary, that now you are a listed company and you have to ensure that all disclosures, compliances, all price sensitive information is being given to the shareholders and to the stock exchange. And it is besides promoters and the secretarial team duty, it is the duty of the statutory auditors and secretarial auditors to ensure that all things are complied within the time frame that has been given by the stock exchange. So there are certain compliances which are time based and certain compliances which are event based. So time based, there is a quarterly, compliance wherein we have to update about the investor if any investor complaints are received. So what is the status of those complaints? Are they resolved? Are they replied? Or they are pending? So there is a a system called as scores, which is introduced by SEBI. The company has to register over there, and over there you get a status of how many complaints are received, how many are solved, how many are pending beyond 30 days, beyond 60 days, everything. There is a full data that has been given. Then there are certain half-yearly compliances. Those are shareholding pattern of the company. Then whatever funds are being raised by the company through IPO. So those funds, you have to give a statement of deviation and variation. So they would have specified that the object of the fundraising is to buy machineries and to buy land. This much is towards the working capital. But however, there could be certain variations that maybe they would have allocated, say, 20 crores for machinery, but they effectively have used 15 crores only. And balance 5 crores, they will use it for working capital. So any deviation from what has been mentioned in the offer document has to be reported to the stock exchange on a half-yearly basis. Then financial results. It is, since you are now a listed company, you have to ensure that your financial results are shared with the shareholders also, which is on a half-yearly basis. Then compliance certificate with respect to share transfer, that any share transfer request has come to the company. So whether the company has complied with that or not, that needs to be given on a half-yearly basis. And compliance certificate with respect to transfers and transmission, that also needs to be given. Besides that, annually the company has to pay the annual listing fees to the stock exchanges, both the stock exchanges, wherever you are listed, and it has to be paid on an annual basis. And the annual report of the company has to be shared with the stock exchange and the shareholders within the given time frame on an annual basis. Then there are certain event-based compliances which needs to be as and when it is decided, it has to be published to the shareholders as well as the stock exchange. It could be appointment of transfer agents or increase in promoter holding, reclassification of shares, change in name of the company, or buyback of the company, giving dividend and bonus. Then everything those are all price sensitive information which needs to be given to the shareholders and stock exchange within 30 minutes of completion of the event. I mean, after completion of the board meeting or when the event is there, or install new plant is been implemented, then that everything, all that price sensitive information needs to be given to the stock exchange. Then company also has to, the promoters and the insiders of the company. Insiders are all KMPs and SMPs. Any trades done by them, that needs to be disclosed to the stock exchanges. And also corporate governance needs to be followed, wherein you have a combination of independent director, women director, proper board meetings have to be undertaken, and minutes have to be formulated. So once the company gets listed, you are in possession of monies of public, and you have to ensure that no no misuse of this money is happening. So yeah, here I end my presentation, and if any queries, please post on chat. I'll try and help you out and try to solve the same. I see no queries.
There is a question from Richa Segal.
Okay.
Once listed as SME, can IPO be again brought later as a non-SME?
Yeah, very good question. So once if you have listed as a SME, there are other methods of fundraising that could be in the form of rights issue or a preferential private placement basis, or it could be a further IPO also. So there are many methods wherein further fundraising is done, because since the company is growing, it needs funds as and when it comes out with a new project. So there are many methodologies.
There is another question. Whether trust is to be converted into Section 8A company, Section 8 company before listing on social stock exchange.
Yes, it is mandatory, but I am not so very sure about it. Frankly, I have not done any SSC listing.
Is Ind AS convergence required on SME listing?
Yes, it is. It is mandatory for all listed companies. So here, this is again a good point. Since the companies are in a private limited firm, I mean, which who are planning to come out with SME, they are either private limited or LLPs or proprietorship. Their accounts won't be in NDAS format. So it is very necessary and mandatory to realign those accounts. And the accounts are restated for last 3 years. And it has to be placed, the restated accounts have to be placed in the offer document. It is mandatory. And also the statutory auditor of the company has to be a peer reviewed one. So that also we have to ensure that part of it also, that the statutory auditor is peer reviewed.
There is separate stock exchange for social companies?
Yes. It is part of BSE and NSE. Both have, it's one of the arms of the main stock exchange. Like BSE SME is also one of the arms of BSE, and NSE Emerge is also one of the arms of NSE main board.
Okay. Friends, any more questions?
In fact, I would suggest that each one who are in different parts of India, definitely you are having clients who are looking for some fund requirement, who are looking, there is always a constraint of funds. And bank, again, how much do you borrow from bank? There are certain limitations, the interest load and all is pretty high. So we have to consider equity as a nice way of fundraising, and we should suggest and maybe gear up the company to make it itself eligible, come up to that level to get itself listed on stock exchange.
How is that circuits decided by the exchange? Like at times it is 2% circuit, at times on some shares it are 5%, 20%, 10%. So that percentage is based on.
So that that review happens on a daily basis, the circuit filter review. And whenever there is a increase in price, if it sees that the price is increasing, say maybe there is a 2 or 3 circuit, okay, then automatically under that review it pops up. They have a very I should say a very wonderful system which pops up that the script now should move to. They have internal criteria based on if they see that certain price is constantly increasing, then they bring that circuit down. So it starts from 20% to 10%, 5%, and 2%. So any script which is in T group generally has 2 or 5%. That is, it cannot go to 10%. 2 and 5 is the highest, and it has to be ensured that I mean the price basically it depends on the volatility of the script, the pricing, and that review again, like the review for going down happens on a daily basis, but review for increasing the circuit filter happens once in 2 months.
There is another question. What are the total expenses? I guess total expense of listing.
I should have covered that, I think so. But yeah, so roughly the expenses comes to around 50 lakhs for the process to undergo an IPO. It ranges between 45 to 50 lakhs, depending on what merchant banker you have opted for. And for fundraising, there is a cost of, say, roughly 4% to 8 to 9%, 4% to 8%, based on what industry the company is from.
Another question, please repeat statutory auditor peer review point.
Yeah, so for all listed companies, it is mandatory to have a peer-reviewed auditor as a peer-review auditor as their statutory auditors. So in case the company which you are planning or proposing to get listed doesn't have a peer review auditor, that needs to be changed, or that person needs to get a peer review certificate from the institute, and then only is eligible to become the auditor, statutory auditor of that particular company, of a listed company.
What is the limit of fundraising minimum?
As such, there is no limit of fundraising, but what highest we have seen in whatever companies that are listed is roughly 108 or 9 crores have been raised under SMA. I myself have handled one issue wherein we have raised 90 crores.
Friends, any more questions? One more question. Is there any data on top merchant bankers?
Top merchant bankers, yes, there is a data. I mean, not top merchant bankers, but yeah, how many people, which merchant banker have done how many issues or what size they have handled. That is available on both BSE and NSE. If you visit their website, yes, there it is available, easily available. If you allow me, I think so. I have something for BSE. I just share. Sorry, for NSE. 1 second. It'll just give you a rough idea that which are the merchant bankers. Is my screen visible? So if you see, friends, Axis Capital has handled around approved. They have 15 issues approved by them. Then Beeline has approved 11 issues. DAM Capital has approved 5 issues. So yeah, that Edelweiss has handled 5 issues. First Overseas has handled 8 issues. So yeah, that data is available. 19 issues by ICICI Securities. They also handle SME issues. But here, if you see those big names, generally they come as an underwriter rather than as a merchant banker who does the due diligence and other kind of.
Next question. Are there any exemptions in terms of ROC compliance for SME listed companies?
No exemptions. You have to get the offer document approved, and whatever ROC compliances, all Companies Act has to be, fully complied with in totality. In fact, there are additional requirements under LODR which needs to be taken care of.
What is the major advantages and disadvantages of listing?
So major advantage, I think so advantages we have discussed in the presentation, that you have more visibility, you get good valuations of your company. Then even the exit for the investor is pretty simpler. The investor, whoever is invested in your company, if the company is listed, the exit is easier. There is brand building that also can be done under this. And yeah, you can give ESOPs to your employees. So even they will have listed company shares with them, and definitely it is going to give, they will stay back with you for a longer time. And yeah, so also the funding requirement. Now, if you have a PE or a VCF on from whom you have borrowed the money, he will definitely ask for a board seat, and there is definitely their interference in the day-to-day activity of the company also many times. So that all won't bother you much if you are a listed company. And if you say what are the disadvantages, the promoters holding 25% minimum has to be with public. So you share that 25% with the public. Then you have to do many additional compliances since you are a listed company and you have taken money from public. So all that additional disclosures and compliances have to be taken care of. And what other? Yeah, this is what I can think of.
Next question is how long it takes to get ready for listing?
Generally, getting ready for listing takes 2.5 months. It depends on what is the compliance level, and it also depends on where you want to use the funds. The whole compliance is one part of it. Definitely, that has to be up to date. Another part is where you want to utilize this fund. The objects have to be very clear with full documentation. So that takes a bit of time. 1.5 to 2 months. It depends on from company to company.
Next question. Is there any minimum time period during which private companies should be converted to public prior to issue?
No, there is no time frame. It can be just 15 days before. Also, there's no time frame. Only what we have to ensure is that the company should have a track record of 3 years. It could be in any form, proprietorship, LLP form, anything.
Okay. Next question is there any other criteria except 3-year cooling period for migration to main board?
Sorry, can you come back?
Is there any other criteria except 3-year cooling period for migration to main board?
Yes, there is a criteria that the capital of the company should be 10 crores. That is one of the criteria. And the shareholders have to be above 5. This is just introduced. Till now it was only 10 crores capital, and the company has to be compliant. Okay. But again, coming back to this migration, this is another additional benefit that the company, even though it is listed on SME, the cost, as you see, is very negligible. Okay. And you get opportunity to get yourself listed on main board of both NSE and BSE. Currently, if you want to list a company on a main board, the cost that involves is roughly 5 to 7% of the issue size, which is very huge. And here, uh, you grow and you migrate to main board. So everything goes hand in hand. As you grow, you are on main board, and that gives you a lot of strength and visibility.
Lots many questions.
Oh, is it?
Very interesting question. As a CA, we can also list our firms.
I don't think that is possible.
I think Code of Ethics may stop us from doing so.
Probably, yes. But this is to be thought over. I mean, let me also think. I don't think that is allowed. Not allowed.
Next question. OFS by promoter is permitted?
It is permitted. But, whenever there is a OFS, yes, generally what we see full OFS is not that. It's a combination of OFS and fundraising. Because when there is OFS, the money doesn't come into the company. The money goes to the promoter. And it is not considered as a very, positive thing, because people want the company to grow. Then only the value of the shares that they are invested in grows. So people prefer less of OFS, and they want infusion of funds in the company.
During the listing time only, company has to declare they want to enter in the derivative market also, or it is a post?
No. So SME companies are not as of now eligible for derivatives. And for derivatives, stock exchange decides which company is eligible for derivatives.
There is some criteria.
Yeah, there are certain criteria. It depends on the market cap, the volumes. So those market caps run at 1,000+ crores.
And exchange can stop also any existing company which are into the derivative market.
Yeah, it is the exchange prerogative to decide. Both the exchanges come together and they decide.
Okay. I think enough questions for the day.
Thank you, everybody. It was pleasure. And Pooja, if you got my introduction, then maybe you can just read through it.
Just a minute.
Oh. And I will be happy if you can share the presentation with everybody. So, actually basic criteria and all are mentioned in that. So it will be helpful to all the stakeholders.
Sure, ma'am. We'll request the technical team to forward the your presentation with all the members available with us today.
Perfect.
Sorry, ma'am, for the late introduction. Here I go with the introduction. Ma'am has an experience of 20 years into insolvency in chartered accountant profession. She is connected with the oldest Asian stock exchange BSE for more than 6 years. She has a vast experience in compliance pertaining to securities law, corporate law, specializing in restructuring, acquisitions, mergers, due diligence, takeovers, SEBI, and lots more. She is a founder of Dhanish Advisors Private Limited. She is a founder from 2008, the firm in existing. She has handled very vast projects. She is right now independent director in the Aarti Drugs Limited, Asian Star Company, Tamboli Capital, Anglo-French Drugs and Industries Limited, Sejal Glass Limited, and she has worked as a manager in the BSE Limited, and she has completed her insolvency professional course in the 2017, and she is chartered accountant from 1998. Very vast experience, very depth knowledge into the subject. So we have a very jewel of the crown with us today. So today, on behalf of Women and Young Member Committee, I would like to extend a formal vote of thanks to CM Neha ma'am. We being chartered accountant are always keen to invest in the IPO. And also many times client ask us which IPO to apply, किस में डालूं किस में नहीं डालूं, ये अच्छा है ना, पॉजिटिव खुलेगा नेगेटिव खुलेगा. But today, ma'am, by your webinar and inside knowledge on the subject, we all could know the process of how a company lists its shares. पूरा जो लंबा process है, इतने compliances है, you have covered point to point on the topic. After a compliance full and a lengthy procedure, a company get listed on the stock exchange. ये कोई सोचता नहीं एट द टाइम ऑफ आईपीओ की आईपीओ आया है, पर उसके पीछे की मेहनत और उसके पीछे की टाइम एफर्ट्स डे एंड नाइट वो नहीं पता होता है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ यू टुडे वी कुड got to know all these things. Thank you, ma'am, for covering the topic very well. Thank you all my friends for joining the webinar. Thank you, Preeti ma'am, Abhay sir, Inkal ma'am, Neha ma'am, my co-coordinators Pinky ma'am, Tripti ma'am. Thank you all for the support and technical team. Thank you from the support and technical team. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Pooja. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.